everybody, it's Terrific, and welcome to my July 2022 book haul video presentation, all that kind of stuff. This is a book haul video where anything goes. I might do anything. No, I won't do that. Shame on you for even considering such a thing. However, I'm going to be talking about stuff I picked up in stores, stuff I picked up on the eBay, stuff I picked up elsewhere. We'll just say that. And to get started, I was in Tampa. This was the beginning of July. I was in Tampa, Florida, going from here to there or something along those lines. And I stopped in at Mojo Books. This is my second trip ever to Mojo Books. My first trip was a wash, a bust. Didn't get a thing there. Of course, I did have a wife and a couple of kids sitting in the car waiting on me to get back. So I was kind of in a hurry. This time I had a little bit more time. I did a little bit more snooping. I looked in sections I didn't know they had. And I found a few things to bring home with me today. Hello, Tampa, Florida. I'm at Mojo Books, coffee and tea. And they sell music. And they play some of the worst music, in my opinion, that I've ever heard. So I'm not going to bother you by making you listen to that music while I show the shelves. So I'll show you what I got. Thing number one, and I'll take the receipt out. We'll save that for some purpose. I don't know. Thing number one, right up front, the very front of the store. You ever heard of a book called The Stepford Wives by Ira Levin? Well, I've heard of it. I've never read it. But they had this book up front. It is, as far as I know, a first edition, first print hardcover, with a dust jacket price of $4.95 on the front, and I paid $9.99 for it. How do I know? Because they wrote it right there in pencil. So I'll break the trusty old eraser to that. That's an old bookstore trick, writing the price in pencil on the front in flap paper gimmick. But this one is first print, first edition. I looked it up on the internets and verified as much, and the price wasn't that good. It wasn't that bad. It was just a book that I wanted at a fair price. There's a rumor that Suntup Editions is coming out with a Stepford Wives edition in a couple of months, and so I'm going to be getting a numbered edition of that, and this seemed like a good primer for that release. Next up at Mojo Bookstore, I've already showed you my collection of Jeff Lindsay's Dexter books. Well, they had this one in this cabinet with glass doors locked with books that had price tags on them of $500, $1,000. And this one was sitting in there. And with the other price tags that were on the competing books, I pretty much thought they're going to way want too much for that book. But a fellow walked by and I said, hey, you don't happen to know how much that book right there is. Dexter is dead, do you? It had a sticker on the end that said signed, and he pulled out the key, opened up the door, said, get whatever you want, man. I'll be back in a minute. So these doors are open. So I pulled out the book I was looking at, and it's priced $11.99, and I said, I'll take it. I'll take it. This one is a signed first print, first edition book. And this, I think this was the only one in the set that I didn't have, but it's signed by Jeff Lindsay, if that's what you want to call it, signed. Anyway, that's the way he signs his books. It ain't pretty, but that's the way it goes. And it is a first edition, first print. There's our number line there. Goes all the way down to 1. I put this dust jacket in a Mylar cover, which is kind of unfortunate that I do that because I use a paper-backed Mylar cover. Well, the dust jacket in here is a strange material that you can see through. So you can kind of see through this whitish material and see to the cover of the book. And it looks really neat. But anyway, it's what I do. I cover the dust jackets. This is, see how shiny that is? This is the book cover with the dust jacket removed. And so it's nice. It's a nice edition. I kind of spoiled some of the fun by putting the dust jacket in the type of protector that I have, but I don't have any clear backed dust jackets, and they might not even look that good on it anyway. So it'll probably just be a hidden gem. Next up, in honor of a fellow by the name of Jeff Terry, I went to the most medium used bookstore on earth, and this one was Second and Charles in Gainesville, Florida. When I'm in Gainesville, I'll probably hit that store up every 2 or 3 months. I give them a little bit of time to get ready for me, to get me something that I want, and then I've found signed books in this category, but I've never found one that I wanted to buy. Not so special to me. They have a Stephen King section at Second and Charles, and they put it right up front, so everybody that comes in has a chance to buy all their Stephen King books right off the bat. It's right in front, so I always take a look at it, and I'll often find something to buy. People read a lot of Stephen King, but people also trade in a lot of Stephen King. And this time they had a perfect condition, first edition, first print copy of Dr. Sleep, and it was cheap enough, so I took it. I think it was $6 or $7, maybe $8. I think it was $8. $8 that I paid for this book. So it was perfect shape, and I took it, and you see it's all shiny, covered in Mylar and stuff like that, which just adds to the fun. So I added this first edition, first print copy of Dr. Sleep to the shelves, and glad to have it as first edition, first print. You can, once again, tell by the number line. And the last thing I picked up at this store, I paid maybe what it's worth, maybe a little less. It's kind of hard to say. And it is Stephen King's Pet Sematary. And you can see by looking at the dust jacket, it's got a little bit of love on it. And a lot of them were that way. I've looked online, a lot of them are that way. But this one is a first edition, first print, and I had to hunt to figure out how to tell on this copy. Because when you look in the front, it's got the unclipped dust jacket with the price on it. And right in here on this page, with the author's note and whatever you'd call this page, it's not coming to me right now. I looked at this page and I had to pull out my phone and figure out, how do you know if I got a first print, first edition? And they said you got to look at the junk in the trunk. I don't remember what they even call this. There's some books that I've got where you got to look on a certain page and see a designation. And this designation for the first edition, first print, is Y38. And I pulled that page before I bought it. I pulled that page nice and tight, and I could see a Y, a 3, and the very beginning of an 8. I didn't pull this page as tight for you because I'm the one that bought the book. I had to convince myself, you're going to have to take my word for it, or you're going to have to not take my word for it. But I'm not going to rip the page off for you. Sorry, I love you. I like you. Not that much, but I like you. I'm not going to tear up my book for you. But I saw half of an 8, and that's good enough for me. So it was neat to add a first edition, first print copy of Stephen King's Pet Sematary. It also came wrapped in Mylar, so saved me a few minutes worth of work and a couple of feet off a roll of my Brodar Justafold 3 Mylar stuff you put on the dust jackets. So for this book haul, this month's haul, my last store stop was in lovely downtown Dade City, Florida. The big city of Dade City.
Hello everybody, welcome to beautiful downtown Dade City. I'm going to the Book Shack. I've got some credit at the Book Shack here in beautiful downtown Dade City, Florida, because when I finish reading books, I usually bring the stack in here to the Book Shack. They'll give me credit, and every now and then I'll come in, cash it in. That's what I'm going to do now. See if there's something that I need here today. Wish me luck. Thanks.
And I found a couple of reader copies of books that I wanted to read. Nothing fancy to show you, all busted up, worn out, perfect for reading. But I did pick up a book that I kind of wanted to put in my collection. Joe Hill, first edition, first print, trade, hardcover copy of The Fireman. And this one was $6. I paid for that, and seemed like a fair enough price to me. It's in practically perfect condition, and first edition, first print with a full number line on display there at the end. So a nice addition for the Joe Hill collection, which seems to be growing for me. Glad to have it. All right, so that's enough. That's all of the bookstore success that I had. Let's go and see what else I bought this month, because it's No Rules July. If it rhymed, it'd be even better, but No Rules July. Subterranean Press had books on sale. One of the books they had on sale was a book that I wanted that I didn't buy, and it was the Collector Artist Edition from Suntup Editions, and you can see the dust jacket's all nice and shiny. I read the Collector to decide if I wanted to get the numbered edition. I've already done an unboxing video and showed you the numbered edition of Collector. I read that book. It didn't seem like a book I was going to love. Maybe it doesn't seem like a book that you're going to love. But once I read it, I did indeed love that book. So I got my number, and then down the road I said, you know, I probably ought to get the artist edition. And Subterranean Press popped out with a good price on quite a few books, a sale, all kinds of sales. And the artist edition of the Collector was one of them. So I was excited to be able to get that for you. Suntup Editions is perhaps my favorite. I would just say they're my favorite publisher. They make a combination of a lot of books that I really like and very nice books with a large variety of designs and different pricing tiers and stuff like that. So I was glad to be able to get this book and add it to my collection at a terrific price. Anyway, let me just show you a little bit of the artwork in here. These artist editions from Suntup Editions are typically limited to 1,000 copies. The numbers are more rare. They have lettered editions that are even more rare, and sometimes Roman numeral editions, which are the rarest. But the artist editions are going to be signed by the artist, and the illustrations in this book were done by David Alvarez. So I'm going to show you a few. If you want to see them all, you can look at my Suntup Editions numbered edition unboxing of the Collector. But I'm going to flip through here and see if I can grab just a few pictures to show you what some of these illustrations are like. Here's one of the interior illustrations. I love the artwork in this book. It's not easy to find them as you're flipping through. But I'll show you another one if I can find another one, and then we'll move on from there. One more, there we go. Without passing on. There we go, one more. So this is a story that triggers some folks because, well, I'll just leave it at that. Read the synopsis if you're interested. A very good story, a very good book, but it doesn't sound good to some people. And it really didn't sound good to me. But I read it, I figured I'd give it a shot, trying to decide if I wanted to buy the numbered edition. So I read the book, and I loved it. And speaking of the Collector, I got another copy, another edition of that book. This one I bought on eBay, and this one is the Franklin Library signed edition of the Collector. And if you're not familiar with the Franklin Library, they made books that were a lot like Easton Press books. Leather bound, gold inlaid, gold gilded page ends, ribbon marker, heck, even the end papers. Very Easton Press-ish. Beautiful books, and they did a lot of signed editions. And so let me pull out this signature right here. The John Fowles signature. This is the first and only signature that I have of John Fowles. The Suntup Editions books came out after he passed away, and there's this certification telling about this this signed limited edition book here. But this was the only signed copy that I have. I don't know if there were other editions out there that were signed by John Fowles. But once I read the book, once I got the Suntup editions in my collection, I decided I wanted to try to find a signed version of the book. And I didn't want to pay the price for a signed first edition, first print. So I ended up trying to find this edition, the signed Franklin Library edition, at a good price. Didn't want to get my pants pulled down over it. I found this book at the price I wanted to pay, and I took it. I got it. Great addition. What is up next? So speaking of Franklin Library, I did a Dashiell Hammett video not too long ago. Maybe you saw it. Probably you didn't. But I added to my collection some Dashiell Hammett books. And one of them I was saying I wanted to get the deluxe leather-bound edition of the Maltese Falcon. One of my favorite books that have ever been written. I've got a lot of favorites, and this is one of them. And what I got was the regular old, no frills, fake leather, doesn't look very cool edition of the book. And I already had a copy. Once I got there, I decided, man, I gotta have the deluxe edition. I'm not screwing around. Playtime is over. So I got it. One was for sale, or a few were for sale. They were all more than I wanted to pay. One person allowed you to make best offer, and I made a best offer, and he accepted, and I got the book. And I'm excited because for me, to you it may seem like nothing. To me, it's one of my favorite books in my collection right now, because it's really the finest edition of one of my favorite books. And I'm trying to show you, it's kind of hard to see the difference. But using my bald eyeballs, glasses on or glasses off, this looks cheap. This looks nice, like real leather. They're so similar. And the main differences really are leather, fake leather, ribbon marker, and there's not a whole lot of difference other than that between the two books. This one, you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference. I can't tell if this one is glued or not. You really can't see up in there, but you can tell the difference in the binding. So I wanted the best version of this book I could get, and that's what I got. The Maltese Falcon, the deluxe edition from Franklin Library. So glad to add that one to the collection. I can check that off the list of books that I got to buy. So now we're coming in on the last lap. We're rounding third and headed for home, but I got a lot of more to show you. So hang on, hang on. Another book that I really wanted to add to my collection. How do you like it? Awesome, huh? Easton Press, The Bridge Over the River Kwai. Pierre Boulez. And Pierre, if I'm saying your name wrong, I'm truly sorry. But I love this movie. I love the movie. I've seen it maybe a dozen times in my life. It's one that I got to dust off and watch again. But I bought a Folio Society copy of Planet of the Apes, and then I realized that author wrote this book. And then I said, wait a second, is that a book that movie was based on? The names are slightly different. The Bridge Over the River Kwai, or The Bridge on the River Kwai. Sure enough, it is. So when I realized that, and I said, I want to know what nice editions of this book are available. And a little bit of searching, and I didn't find much, but Easton Press did a quality edition of it. Like they all, leather bound, gold gilt page ends, built-in satin ribbon marker. A nice book. It really has no illustrations. It's not signed, so it's pretty plain, but it'd be the nicest version of this book that I know about anyway. And I decided then I wanted to get it. It's just a matter of waiting to see if I could find the right book at the right price. Finally, I found somebody willing to sell it at the price I was willing to pay. I added it to my collection, and it's another check off the list. All right, so now I've got a couple of books in boxes, and I got to get them mothers out of the box. I've already showed you some books that were high on my list of books I wanted to get. So July has been a check the box month for me in terms of book collecting. And this is another one of those check the box books for me. I collect Robert McCammon books. And for a Robert McCammon book collector, there are some books that are considered must-haves. If you don't have these books on your shelves, these editions of these books on your shelves, then your Robert McCammon collection is suffering. And mine is suffering. I'll just tell you right now, it may suffer forever because I don't have the signed limited edition of Mr. Slaughter. I've got the rest of the Matthew Corbett books, but I don't have that one. And I've got some of the nice ones. I've got Swan Song. I've got Boy's Life. I've got The Wolf's Hour. I got a lot of books. But there's a couple that are holes, and one of them is a hole that hurts. And it's called I Travel by Night. Ever hear of it? Subterranean Press made a signed and limited edition of this book, and we'll be here all day if I keep talking. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my Alaska knife that was made in Chicago, but I bought it in Alaska, and I'm going to open this mother up and see if I'm happy or sad, because I got a good price on this book. And this seller got it to me fast, and I just haven't opened it up. So I've sharpened this blade today. Today I was sharpening this blade, and it's ready. This book's been sitting on a countertop for a while, eating at me, gnawing at me. But here I'm going to open it up. I'm going to put it on my shelf and check another one of those books that I got to get off my list. So let's open it up and see how a sharpened knife works. It would be, I guess you'd call it a Becker blade, the way the blade is shaped. I call it a Becker. I don't know much about knives. I just like them. I like to sharpen them. I like to have them. I like to use them for things. It's a tool. But anyway, it works for this. It works for this. Let's set it down so I don't cut my carotid artery. And look and see what I've got in here. So I guess my theory is somebody buys Folio Society books because they package their books and stuff like this. Anyway, let's get this suspected Folio Society cushioning out of the box. The ends were protected also, so these were rolled up to protect the ends in case the book got bashed somewhere along the way. Let me roll up my suspected Folio Society cushioning. And then we get down to Granddaddy's bubble wrap. The old-fashioned stuff, the good stuff. Let's open that stuff up and see what I Travel by Night looks like, because I've been collecting Robert McCammon for a good long while now. And I've never touched this book. I've never read this book. So I've got one of my problems is addressed, or is about to be addressed, hopefully. And one of my problems will have to get addressed directly if I can get it opened up. Get it out of the bubble wrap. Get it out of the little plastic sleeve here. Let's see, what do we got to do to get this book out? You can already tell by looking at it. It's a very small edition. It's a very small book. Very few pages, but we'll open it up and see how many, see what it looks like, and we'll see what we'll see. So it comes in a slip case, which is nice from Subterranean Press. They don't always do that. When they do, I love it. I prefer books in slip cases. I just love them. Let's take this book out of this cloth slip case. And there's the back of the spine. So for those of you who like to put books on the shelves the wrong way, you can actually tell what book you got on the shelf. But I like to show it the right way so you can see the spine of the book. The spine of this book is shiny. So somebody already hooked me up with the Mylar, and it fits just right. Tight, but not too tight. Well, I like it. Anyway, here is our cover. And man, I'm pleased to see it. I Travel by Night, Robert McCammon. So I said this is a signed and limited edition book. But before we do that, let's take off this dust jacket and show you a little bit about what, at times, Subterranean Press has done. Some of the books, I've got a lot of Subterranean Press books. Some of them, they'll have a limited edition and a trade edition. And in those cases, a lot of times, the limited edition will be a leather-bound book that looks different. It may have the same dust jacket, but the book itself is leather-bound, where the trade might be a cloth-bound book. But now, I mean, there's no guarantee what it's going to be like. A lot of their limited editions are cloth-bound books. But anyway, I've got some that are like this. leather bound for limiteds, cloth bound for trades. Let's open this thing up and take a look at our end papers. Let's take a look at the limitation page. This one was limited to 474 copies. This is copy number 32, and it's signed by Robert McCammon. I didn't think there were any interior illustrations in this book. And I still might be right, but I'm going to check and see what there is, if there is anything. If there is, can I find it? And there's one. Man, that looks so good. Looks like one full page color illustration. Well, let's see what else there is. So one of them, glossy, looks nice. When you're expecting none, one is nice. So it comes with a beautiful slipcase, one nice color illustration. It is a limited edition book. There's how large the typeset is. And how many pages? This book is 147 pages. So slim, but nice. Glad to have it. Glad to add it to my collection. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And the last one for this video. This is a book that I've already got, but I didn't have this one. So I've got, this is Upgrade by Blake Crouch. And I've got the signed trade edition. I gotta find the corner that I can cut on this one. I've got the signed trade edition, and I got it from VJ Books. I've got the UK first print, first edition copy, and I got the US first print, first edition copy. I did an unboxing video on that. 2 books in one sort of a thing. Upgrade by Blake Crouch. But by the time I found out about this book, and by the time I found out about this opportunity, it was too late. This book was already sold out. There is a limited edition version of this book, and that's, ooh, incriminating evidence. That's what I want to show you. That's what I came to buy today. That's what I want to show you. This limited edition book, and I can put it side by side with the regular copy of this book and show you just some of the slight differences between the two. All right. Keeping my belly welly out of the line of fire. All right. So I got some newspaper. I got a box wrapped in paper, a book wrapped in newspaper, and one of these days we'll get down to it. Kathy Rush's legacy in basketball is far-reaching. I have to read about that. I haven't heard about that yet, but we'll see. All right. Hey, thank you. Thank you, seller, for taking good care of me, making sure I'm well packaged. My book is well protected, because if there's one thing I can't stand, is buying a book and having that thing unprotected in the mail. And it's even worse when it gets damaged. All right, we're getting down to the home stretch. So, Upgrade by Blake Crouch. I already told you that. The publisher is the publisher is Macmillan, and it seems familiar. I already showed you stuff like this, but let's show you what some of the differences are. The end spray on the page edges is a deluxe feature that comes with these books. The spine is glued, just like the trade edition was. And I really don't think there's anything else that's any different between this book and the one I already got, besides the page ends and a limitation page. This one is limited to 350 copies, and signed by the author Blake Crouch. Mine is number 169, you see there at the top. And it's published by Macmillan in association with Goldsboro Books, July 2022. So I was glad to get this one because to date, it is the limited edition version of this book. And beyond that, there is really no difference at all between this version of this book. The book that I already showed you. Which one's which, I don't know. Now I can tell the difference between the two. So this one came from VJ Books, and it was signed by the author. This one came from Goldsboro ultimately, and I bought it on the secondary market at a good price. A price that I couldn't pass up on, but still more than it was originally sold for. But it's a signed, limited edition version. It truly is the same as the trade, just a little bit of extra features, including a numbered signature page and the end spray, so it looks neat. If this is the only one that you're going to get, there's not much difference. That's really it. But I wanted the limited edition. I don't know, I just did, and I bought it. And that's all I got to say on this video. I think I've said enough. I can think of no more lies to tell. So that being said, c'est la vie, baby.